What's up guys, my name's Captain Dave and welcome back to the Captain's Quarters, the video in which I go ahead and answer all your questions and comments over the last week's set of videos, or as recent evidence has shown, just last week's video, since each week this video seems to get about 10 minutes longer each time. So hey, maybe we're going for the full hour this time, who knows. But, as always, before I get started, I do have a couple of announcements and just stuff that I need to tell you. So, that way, best way to do it, just put it in the video. First off, is I haven't been able to, and I'm not sure when I will be able to next actually record something. As you all know, I finished the Mass Effect 2 walkthrough long ago, so you've definitely got that to look forward to. But I have no new walkthroughs since Deadpool, as you have obviously seen, and I haven't even started recording Mass Effect 3 yet, which I plan to at least be halfway through by now, but I haven't even started, because as you know, with the whole issue I was having with Deadpool, is I had to get myself a new Xbox. Since doing that, it's a brand new one, and at the back it doesn't have the same plug-in slot as it did from my old Xbox, so I think I need to get some form of component cable or something. So right now I'm actually, it's not just due to laziness, I'm actually unable to record at the moment. So yeah, expect just to be sticking with Mass Effect for a while until I can figure that out. I'm going to have to find out what cable I need and then somehow track it down. I think it'll be the third time I've had to buy some sort of component cable for this thing. And while we're on the topic of recording and stuff like that, fortunately a bit of bad news is, as it's been recently, or last 6 months I'd say, I've been uploading 2 walkthroughs at once, every other day, except for Mass Effect, as I say, 'cause it's a big game, I upload them every day. Because, as some of you may or may not know, I started university over the last couple of weeks, and with that and work and other such stuff and coursework, my timetable is insanely busy, more so than it was before, which as you knew was already quite busy. So unfortunately, I feel I may need to cut it down to just 1 walkthrough instead of 2 walkthroughs simultaneously, because I would not be able to keep up with both my college work, my job work, and also doing this at the same time, and as a result you'd be getting about 2 videos and have to wait a week, and then you'd get another 2 videos and then wait a week, and it's just, I don't like doing that, so I'd rather cut it down to just 1 walkthrough at a time and you guys get constant videos like you have been over the last couple of months. But yeah, I don't want to do that. I like uploading 2 walkthroughs. It means you guys get a bit of variety, you get to pick and choose what you watch. But unfortunately I just don't have the time to even get 1 walkthrough recorded at the moment, let alone 2, so well, it looks like we'll just be sticking with Mass Effect for the time being, and I'll get other games ready to start recording once all that is done. I might be able to fit 1 more on, like, alongside Mass Effect, but as for now, I do not know. So I've just been, haven't been able to record, I've just been sort of playing the Xbox on my own for the time being, which, by the by, I completed GTA 5, and that game is awesome. Haven't been a fan of GTA for a long time. I mean, I've played GTA ever since the very first GTA, back when it was a over-the-top view GTA, which was just quite terrible when you look back on it now. So, and after GTA 4, I was kind of worried that the game series was going downhill, and the next one was kind of be a make or break. And luckily, it was a make. Not only have they made an awesome game, that I think they might have actually made the best GTA yet. 'Cause GTA 5 was absolutely awesome and just a pleasure to play throughout the entire game. But anyway, enough of that. These videos are long enough about me finding new stuff to talk about. So let's get on answering some of the comments and questions from the Captain's Quarters, episode 3. Starting off, as always, with Jack Lunas. You are just on the ball. You're always like one of the first 3 people to comment. He said, do you think they should make a Marvel Injustice? I don't think they really need to. They could do. I mean, why not? Since Marvel have teamed up with Disney, they seem to be all about raking in the money any way they can. I suppose they were before anyway, but still. I wouldn't object. I don't like those games, so I wouldn't be buying it. But seen by the success that DC's Injustice did, I think if Marvel did a version of it, they would do well. But at the same time, they don't really need to, because they've got the whole Marvel vs. Capcom thing going on. So in a way, they kind of already do. But if they were to make one that was just solely Marvel, then I'm sure it would be successful. Yusuf Yasir asked a hell of a lot of questions. I'm just going to go through and answer your ones now. First one said, Dave, no offense, but I find Pokemon boring. Well, no offense, I don't care. Come October 12th, I'm the one who's going to be having an awesome weekend, so... You also asked, am I going Comic-Con in November? No, I'm not. I just do not have the time or the money. I'd like to, because I went I forget when it was. I went earlier this year and I had a great time, so I'd like to, but no, I just don't have the money all the time, unfortunately. You also asked, Dave, I think MUA 3 should be a flashback between MUA 1 and MUA 2 where they fight Galactus. Yeah, that was something that everyone, myself included, thought was a bit weird. The end of Ultimate Alliance 1, they had it leading on to Galactus being angry, which was a good point, and then with 2 they just went with the Civil War. I mean, if you talk to Thor right at the start, he mentions that they had to fight Galactus and they put him down, and you ask him what happened and he doesn't tell you. But I don't know, I think it would be cool if they actually went back and told the story of Galactus, but I think if they were to make a 3rd one, they're probably just going to stick to a comic event again. I'd like them to make their own story, because if it's a comic event, you already know what happens. So you also asked, can I play Infamous and what's my PS3? I swear I have answered this question to you 1,000 times. I think I've even sent you a message saying I've answered this question 1,000 times. Infamous is a game that I played a bit of. I think it was the 2nd one once. It was when the PlayStation Network went down and we got those free games. I played a bit of Infamous then, and I studied it quite a bit in college for like the games course I'm on. It looks like a fantastic game, so I might do at some point in the future, but as I just said with my recording schedule right now, I can't guarantee it anytime soon. So consider that me officially answering that question once and for all. If it happens again, I will actually, I don't know what I'll do. I probably won't do anything. And what's my PS3? I'm guessing that means like my PS3 username, whatever, you know what I mean. To be honest, you can probably guess by what my channel name is, but even if you did send me a request, I'm not going to accept it, because as I said in last week's video, I don't accept a request from people unless they're my friends in real life, because otherwise my friends list just gets absolutely insanely huge, and it's pandemonium anytime I go online. So unfortunately, I don't accept requests on PlayStation or Xbox. If you want to talk to me, then talk to me through YouTube or Twitter. Probably Twitter's the best way to do it. I don't use Twitter half enough, so if you want to send me a message there, I'll gladly respond to it if I notice, because as I say, I don't use Twitter that much. Let's say this right. The Ninth Path said, "Sup Dave, I've got 3 questions for you." Okay, let's go through these one at a time. Number 1, if you were going to make your own Spider-Man game, would you use elements from previous games or bring in new ideas? I'd like it, if I was to create one myself, I'd love it to be like a brand new game, something that nobody's ever seen before. But the problem with doing that is, by creating something nobody's ever seen before, you also encounter problems that nobody's ever seen before. Normally problems that don't bring themselves to light until you've actually released the game, like glitches and hacks and easy way to beat opponents and stuff like that. So I'd like to make a new game, but then there's some ideas in the old Spider-Man games that are just too perfect to change up, like web swinging off buildings, or maybe the stealth mode from Spider-Man Noir in Shattered Dimensions. So, yeah, probably a bit of both. I'd like to make it'd have to have some sort of new features into it. You'd just be rehashing an old game, but I think there's some old ideas in Spider-Man games that are just too good not to bring forward. I'd love to have the combat from Amazing Spider-Man. I really enjoyed the combat in that game. I felt it was a lot more, like every punch connected. It wasn't just something like Edge of Time, or I can't really remember Shattered Dimensions too well. Something like Edge of Time was great, but every move you did, it was kind of just like you were swiping at a general area, and you just knocked them all back. What I liked about Amazing Spider-Man was every single punch connected, and the person reacted to how you hit them and where you hit them, and I kind of like that. The same sort of mechanism that's in all the Arkham games. How like you have to actually hit them in individual places. You're not just swiping at a general area, you know. But number 2, since Peter Parker's mind has been... Oh, actually, spoiler alert. I just thought I'd mention that. Probably in these Captain's Quarters there might be quite a few spoilers. So if you don't want to know anything about... Let me read the question. If you don't want to know anything about Ultimate Spider-Man or Amazing Spider-Man, if you haven't read that, then you might want to close your ears for approximately 30 seconds or so. Since Peter Parker's mind has been forced out thanks to Doc Ock, what if his mind entered the comatose body of 616 version Miles Morales so he could return? Do you think that would happen? I didn't even know Miles Morales was comatose, so because I haven't read any of that yet, so I suppose that's a spoiler for me as well. But it's something they could do. I wouldn't be surprised if Actually, wait, Peter Parker's mind has been forced out thanks to Doc Ock. Oh, I didn't know that. I thought they were both like rocking around inside his head. Unless you mean like since, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they did that, and then maybe somehow he crosses back into like the Amazing Universe, and he's like, "Give me back my body." It would be a little weird for a little boy. Bear in mind, Miles Morales' age, it'd be a little weird for a boy to say that, but yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, people in that universe come back from the dead so often. I know he's not exactly dead, but hey, stranger things have happened. I mean, Johnny Storm, he came back. I mean, countless others. It's just, I think nearly every superhero's died at some point. Hell, Captain America died like twice. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I'd be on board with it. Anything that means Peter Parker's still up and running makes me happy. Number 3, when you make your video game, which will be a very long time in the future, but when you make your video game, would you model the main character with your attitude and personality in mind? Keep up the good work, brother. Peace. Well, for starters, just a quick point, I wouldn't really have a choice, to be honest. If I'm making a game, I would have to make whatever the whatever the game developers tell me I have to make. I wouldn't really have a choice. It wouldn't be my personal game. It would be whatever company I work for, so I wouldn't really have a choice. But if I did have a choice, I would like to model the character after myself. I mean, who wouldn't? It's having yourself in a game, it's like the best thing ever. I've always, as a kid, always wanted to have like a GTA styled game, but in the area that I live, so it's all the sites that I know, and so your corner shop and sort of like your roads, but you're able to do it sort of GTA style. I'd love to do something like that, but you'd have to give them some sort of a different personality and attitude and stuff like that, because otherwise it'd be pretty boring. I mean, I'm a cool dude, but I don't think I could keep someone entertained for 10 to 20 hours in a video game, you know? So you'd have to give them something else that makes them a bit unique and a bit different. Jim Jenks said, "Hey Dave, great vid, so here goes. Have you seen Man of Steel yet? And if so, did you enjoy it? And secondly, are you excited for Batman vs Superman?" I did see Man of Steel, and I very much did enjoy it. Bear in mind, other than that one issue of the New 52 Justice League that I read, and I watched the entire Smallville TV series, which I loved, by the way. I thought that was awesome. I thought it was going to be crap, but as it went on, Smallville, I personally thought it got very good. But yeah, so bear in mind, I'd only ever really seen that, and I know they're probably nothing like the comics. I thought Man of Steel was very good. I've heard every Superman film before that is just terrible. Yes, I'm talking to Tommy from Geek Space here. I've heard all the Superman films before that were absolutely terrible, but I like Man of Steel. I thought it was very good. And am I excited for Batman vs Superman? I wouldn't say excited. I'm going to go see it, but I'm not exactly checking up for trailers and information about it. I'm not that fussed about it, to be honest, but I definitely will see it over other films when it comes out. Seth Hampton, question 1. What do you think about not showing Peter's face in Amazing Spider-Man? And 2, will you play Superman Returns? Not showing Peter's face in Spider-Man? I have no idea what you mean. Are you talking about as in the Amazing Comics? Saying like the fact that now... Oh, actually no, because his face is being shown. I don't know really quite what you mean by that, sorry. What do you think about not showing Peter's face in Amazing Spider-Man? Do you mean the films? Because his face is shown in it. I don't know. I'm not quite sure what you mean about that, but I'm pretty certain his face does have to be shown. And 2, will you play Superman Returns? Very, very unlikely, to the point where I can probably say no. I doubt I probably will. You also asked, what would Justin Bieber do as Robin? Sing them to death. No, he'll just sing the movie to death. That's what he would do. Kill all the enemies just by destroying the film they're in. Jedi Coon said, "Hey Dave, when do you think you're going to run out of games to make a walkthrough of?" Hopefully never. I mean, there's a whole plethora of games out there, so I don't think I'll ever run out of games. I'm more likely to run out of the motivation to do walkthroughs before games ever run out. I mean, how many games get released a year? So it's they'll never ever run out of games to do walkthroughs of. I think I'll just run out of the motivation to do it first, but hopefully that won't happen anytime soon either. See for more questions. Uh, JDude281 said, Dave, every time you try an American accent, you sound gay. Just stop, okay? Well, every time you tell me to stop doing an American accent, I'm just gonna keep trying to do one. And if that makes me sound gay, well, gee whiz. I think not only do I sound gay when I do the American accent, I age by about 30 years as well. JDude281 also said that the only good character from DC, in my opinion, is Batman. Superman is too much of a Boy Scout, and I just don't like other characters. What are your thoughts? I kind of felt like Superman was a bit overpowered. Like, when I first heard about Superman, I thought he was very overpowered. But then, hadn't seen like TV films and like read slight amounts of the comics, I think they make up with that by making him have his own sort of personal issues. As I said, I've never read any Superman, so I can't talk too much about it. But from what I can see, I think they give him his own sort of personal issues, and they have enemies from his, like, his homeworld and stuff like that. So he's evenly matched. I mean, if it was just him against a man with a pistol 24/7, it wouldn't be interesting to read. Because he'd just walk over there, take a massive dump on them, and it'd be done. So, not literally, of course. But, yeah, I kind of felt the same in, when you said about the Boy Scout, I kind of felt the same about Captain America. I didn't like him. I felt like he was such a goody-goody, but then I read it and I got to know him a bit better. I say it like I know him in real life. I got to know him a bit better, and then I realised there was a depth to the character, which just explains why everyone likes it, to be honest. But no, as I say, with DC, I can't really give too much of an opinion. Don't really know him too well. Anything I say will just offend people who do know it well enough. Archer Raremaster put all our faults and fears to rest by saying that the Robin thing is just a hoax. Bieber is doing a comedy skit playing Robin, and that's it. He's not actually in Batman at all. But I think we kind of all assumed that anyway, because if they did that, then they really are just committing Batman suicide. Fidgety Jones, nice name by the way. This question may answer itself, but are you excited for the next Mass Effect that's been talked about? Will you do a walkthrough of it, and what kind of changes would you like to see in the game? Personally, I want to see the ability to play as an alien species instead of solely a human character. Yes, I am excited about the next Mass Effect. I think also, yes, I will do a walkthrough of it, most likely. I can't see myself not doing a walkthrough of it. And what kind of changes, well, unless it's really bad, but what kind of changes would you like to see in the game? I thought about this a lot, because when Mass Effect 4, I guess we can call it for the purposes of this, when Mass Effect 4 was announced, or sort of rumoured to be announced anyway, that was when I was at my height of loving the trilogy, so I thought about it quite a lot, and I think, to be honest, the best thing they could probably do for the actual thing, because they said it's going to be nothing to do with Shepard, it's nothing to do with the Reapers. Well, it might be just slightly to do with the Reapers, but that whole story arc of the Reapers, the Geth, you know, getting your team and trying to save the galaxy, they said that's done, that's over, it's nothing to do with Shepard anymore. Whether, depending on what era they set it in, you never know, you might bump into Shepard at one point, or hear his name come up in conversation, or see the after effects of when he's been somewhere. You don't know, they might throw in a cameo or something like that. But my personal thought is maybe not to centre it around one character like they did with Shepard, because let's face it, unless they were to bring back a character like, say, Garrus or someone like that, nobody's ever going to live up to Shepard. And then you've also got the issue of what if in your game Garrus died, and it's like, well, they can't be a main character, can they? So my thought would be they should make it almost like several short stories within one game, or almost like a seeing how quite a few of them live for quite a lot longer, like the Krogan and the Asari, it could focus around one of them maybe, and you could have, say, for example, the Rachni Wars, and you're a character, maybe you're a Krogan throughout the Rachni Wars, and then after that it's the Krogan Rebellions, and then maybe you are two characters, kind of like they do with GTA. You're that same Krogan that was in the Rachni Wars, and you're also a Taurian. And then at the end of the Rachni Wars and the Krogan Rebellions, you're then carrying on as that Taurian instead, and then you could be in the First Contact War with the humans. And then at the end of that, it could be something else, yada yada yada. I mean, then there's loads of other little side stories and stuff that happen. I think that would be a better way. Almost tell all these stories that you never actually experienced, but you heard about throughout the Mass Effect trilogy. Just almost follow them in linear progression, and each time you end up following another character. So say like you could be, as I said, the Krogan through the Rat Knight Wars. He could be then the Krogan Rebellions, and then he gets killed by a Taurian at the end of the Krogan Rebellions, and then you follow that Taurian story up from there on. You know, something like that. I think that would be better, just a series of short stories. I mean, that's my personal opinion on it. I think that'd be quite cool. I think if they try and centre it around just one new hero, no one's ever going to compare to Shepard. So I think doing something like that, and then maybe have your characters from the game appear throughout it as side characters might be cool. Like Garrus when he was Archangel. I mean, at that point he didn't have the opportunity to die. Like when you recruited him as Archangel in Mass Effect 2, you couldn't die in Mass Effect 1. You could have the choice of not recruiting him, but then he still became Archangel. So maybe you could bump into him on Omega before Shepard recruits him in Mass Effect 2. Or something like that, and you know, so on and so forth, stuff like that. You maybe bump into Liara on a dig site before Mass Effect 1 ever happened. Stuff like that, maybe bump into Benezia or Nihilus, the Spectre, the Turian from the very start of Mass Effect 1. Maybe you bump into characters like that throughout the story. I mean, that is what I think would be the best version, because then you're still getting that awesome universe and character development they built up in the Mass Effect trilogy, yet you're getting your brand new game that you wanted. I mean, that's my personal thoughts on it. Not to say I haven't thought about it much or anything, but Yao Yin, yeah, Yin, something like that. I'm sure that's nearly right. Hey Dave, are you ever going to play Spider-Man 3? Probably not. That first Spider-Man trilogy that everyone talks about, the ones that are based off the movies, I don't see myself ever playing them, to be honest. They're alright games, but I'd be playing them more because I feel I have to, as opposed to I want to. So I don't think it would be a very good walkthrough, because you would tell that I don't really want to play the game. So Robert Hill said, Dave, if you could create your own alternate Marvel universe with the main character being Spider-Man, what would you make? E.g. costume, powers, personality? Your own alternate Marvel universe with the main character being Spider-Man. I do not know. I'm not quite sure what you mean. Like a new universe with all the superheroes in it? Or are you talking about a new universe with Spider-Man being the main character, but Spider-Man could now have other costumes and powers? I'm not quite sure what you mean. I'm just going to take that as kind of a question, as if I was to make a character in that universe, what powers would I have? I'll answer it in that kind of way. Powers, the boring answer is I'd always say I'd have health regeneration like Wolverine. They always say, you know, living forever, it's a curse because you see all your friends and family die and yada yada yada, but at the same time, you live forever. I'm sure you'll get over it eventually. But yeah, that's my boring answer. But my fun answer, it'll be something like teleportation or indestructibility. I always sound as quite a boring power, but something like the Juggernaut or Luke Cage, that'd be pretty sick. Or I think the most fun one I'd have is probably have a power like Iceman. As I say, he's always been hugely underrated, and he could do some serious damage. The fact turning all the moisture into air into ice, creating ice out of anything. I think the guy is actually, if he was to be a villain, he'd be one of the Omegas. He'd be unstoppable. So powers, something like that. But if I'm boring, I would say healing. If I'm being more entertaining and fun, I'd say ice. Personality, probably just like my own. Maybe a bit of, sort of like, basically kind of like Spider-Man's really. Quite like got a joking sort of personality. Doesn't take stuff too serious, but when it needs to, you know, take stuff quite serious. I'd like that sort of character more, where they're not just stupid and zany like Deadpool. They're serious, but they take the piss 24/7. And costume, just as long as it's not spandex, I'm happy. Don't think my physique would necessarily fit spandex too well. Not that, I'm not saying I'm fat or anything, but I'm not. I'm not exactly The Rock, so yeah. No spandex. Anything after that, I'll be happy. AJ Singh, hey Dave, can you please check out Resistance 1, 2 and 3 game trailer, and have you played Dead Space? And Dave, who are your top 5 WWE wrestlers? And see, that's another question that I swear I've answered 1,000 freaking times. Is that Resistance 1, 2 and 3? I've seen bits of the Resistance, but honestly there's nothing about it that appeals to me in the slightest. So I very much doubt I'll be playing it. It just doesn't appeal to me. It's just not my type of game. Have you played Dead Space? No, I've watched a bit of it online. It looks like it scares the hell out of people, and I don't know, might play in the future. I like games that are third person. I do not like first person games. I don't know why, I just don't. I like seeing your character, who you are. So it could be something I might play. Very much doubt I'd ever do a walkthrough of it. I can almost just guarantee you I won't do a walkthrough of it. But yeah, I've seen bits of Dead Space online. It looks fun if you're into the whole scary stuff. And Dave, who are your top 5 WWE wrestlers? Ooh, top 5 question. You know I'm not good at picking favourites of anything, and a top 5 question is just your top 5 favourites. So I'm just going to do what I normally do when I get a top 5 question and just list off a bunch of wrestlers that I like, that I can remember at this particular point. In no particular order, Rock, Stone Cold, the Hardy Boys as a group, because I feel when they were together as a tag team, they were in their prime. I think they were awesome and they were great wrestlers. I felt once they went on their own, they kind of went downhill. Jeff turned to drugs repeatedly. Matt turned to hamburgers repeatedly, and things just I felt their careers just plummeted after that, which is a shame, because when them two were together in their prime as the Hardy Boys, they were fantastic. So I'll put them two together as a group, the Hardy Boys. So yeah, Rock, Austin, Hardy Boys. Kane, I feel, has always been underappreciated. He's been in that company forever. I just think he's hugely underappreciated, like talented. I mean, Big Show, again, underappreciated, and he's got talent for someone of his size. But Kane is athletic as all hell, and I feel he gets just some ridiculous storylines, and he should be way up there with the rest of them. He should be the one getting the titles, not these new people they bring in and with a week they've got the championship. I think that's ridiculous. But no, there's loads I'm forgetting. There's loads of other guys who I can't really fit in the top 5, but there's loads I think are underappreciated and are just great wrestlers. Chris Jericho. I'm glad CM Punk got a push because he's awesome. Randy Orton's great, both on the mic and wrestling. That's another thing that makes CM Punk so good as well. I used to always like Triple H. I'm not sure if I like him personality-wise, but he was always good on the mic and wrestling. Mick Foley was fantastic, although I think he quite often does tend to contradict himself with his strong opinions. But I love Mick Foley. His autobiographies, I think, are the only things other than comics that I've ever read. I mean, what is it? Foley is good, and Have a Nice Day. The Tale of Blood and Sweat Socks. I think I've read that book just so many times. It's fantastic. But yeah, there's loads of there's loads of people I'm forgetting. Edge and Christian, they're fantastic, and there's loads of older ones I'm forgetting. But yeah, I can't pick a top 5. But there, take that for what you will. There's a bunch of wrestlers that I think are awesome. The Pendragon 12 said, Dave, are you going to consider playing Beyond Two Souls? Yeah, I checked out Two Souls when I went Eurogamer, actually. That game I think looks fantastic. As you know, I did a Heavy Rain walkthrough, and that game is quite similar to that, not in story but in gameplay. The fact it's kind of like a film in which you control by pushing buttons and stuff like that. I'm a fan of like the way those sort of games are being developed now. I'm quite interested in that sort of stuff. So yeah, Two Souls, I'm definitely going to be getting that. Look forward to playing that, and I'm loving how also actors are actually having an acting role in games now, as opposed to just a voice acting role. Like, it isn't just, oh, it's William Dafoe and Ellen Page doing the voices of it, and look, it kind of looks like them. It is them acting. It's them with the suits on, and it's them actually doing the movements and stuff like that. And it even says starring William Dafoe and Ellen Page, and I think that is the future of games. So stuff like Two Souls, very much looking forward to that. Again, whether I do a walkthrough of, actually, I don't know, maybe I might actually do a walkthrough of Two Souls if it's any good. I mean, if it's anything like Heavy Rain was, there's a possibility, because I do like games like that. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to playing Two Souls. Love the name as always. Dave, have you thought about playing X-Men 2 Wolverine's Revenge? No, I've never even seen any gameplay of that. But as I said, oh yeah, talking about gameplay, I totally forgot about that. Recording stuff. I still need to talk to old Matt the Geek. Talk about getting that sort of exchanging Xboxes and stuff like that. Because yeah, X-Men Legends 1 and 2, I totally forgot about that. But no, I haven't seen any gameplay and stuff for X-Men 2 Wolverine's Revenge. But X-Men Legends, if I'm playing the next X-Men game, it'll be that will probably be coming out. Carson Dickey said, Dave, I love your videos, but there are some things I really don't like. Why do you always play... Oh yeah, why do you always play the game first? I was looking forward to Deadpool because of the first contact of the humour, but you already played it, making the humour useless. I mean, to tell you the truth, Deadpool game's plot and enemies, boss, suck the humour. Oh, bosses and enemies suck. The humour is what makes it good. Yeah, you bald that useless. Apparently grammar's useless as well. But no, I always play through games first, and to be selfish, and I don't, sorry if it is, but I want to enjoy the game myself first. Like, you guys play the games yourself as well. If I'm recording a walkthrough and I haven't played the game myself, I'm not getting to enjoy the game because I'm trying to be entertaining. So I like to play the game first because I've paid to buy the game and I want to enjoy the game. And if I'm recording a walkthrough, I'm not going to get to enjoy the game because I'm trying to do good gameplay and be informative at the same time and funny and yada yada yada. So yeah, to be entirely selfish, I want to enjoy the game for myself first before I do a walkthrough of it. And also, if the game turns out to absolutely suck, I don't want to do a walkthrough of it. So that's another reason why I play the game first. And also, if I don't play the game first, I suck at the game because I haven't played it yet. Which is also, if you go and look at X-Men Destiny Shadow Matter walkthrough that I did, even though a lot of people seem to like that, I mean, I think that's quite where I get quite a lot of my subscribers from. I personally feel that walkthrough sucks. I do not like it. And when I did my energy projection and density control one, I almost considered doing another Shadow Matter one just to do an improvement, because when I did Shadow Matter, that was a live commentary and a blind walkthrough. It was the first time I'd ever played that game when I did that, and my gameplay sucked because I was too busy trying to talk and be informative and be entertaining, and all my commentary sucked because I was too busy trying to play the game. I mean, I died so many times. I mean, I know I had it on the hardest difficulty, but I died so many times, and my commentary I felt sucked because I was trying to not die so many times, and I felt as a result the whole walkthrough could have been better. Because if I had played the game, I would have got good at the game, and then I could have played the game, you would have seen great gameplay, and you would have had good commentary, because I don't have to concentrate as much on the game, because I know what I'm doing, if you see what I mean. And that's my personal opinion. I mean, way back when in the day, a little bit of trivia for you, I recorded an entire Portal 2 walkthrough, which I never uploaded. I recorded the entire walkthrough, but I never uploaded it, because I hadn't played the game before, and I sat there and tried to do walkthrough over the top, which, by the way, it's a silly game to try and do a walkthrough of, because there's no story really to it much. So it's just, all you see is for like a couple of hours, one guy walking around a room looking confused. So I never uploaded it. An entire 2-hour, 3-hour walkthrough, I deleted straight away because it sucked. Because I hadn't played the game before, so my gameplay sucked and my commentary sucked. So yeah, there's a few reasons why. I mean, I can understand why you wanted me to play Deadpool live, because then as he says stuff, I would have had natural reactions like laughing and stuff like that. But then at the same time, you probably wouldn't have heard my laughter because I cut out all audio during cutscenes, so you can just enjoy the game itself. So other than the actual gameplay bits, you wouldn't have heard me laugh or anything anyway. So, but I can understand where you're coming from. You wanted to see my initial reaction, so I'm sorry about that. But to be honest, I think that's something I'm willing to sacrifice so you guys get better videos in the long run. But that's my personal opinions. And you also asked, will you play Arkham Origins? And if so, will you play Deathstroke? Doc, you can play as Deathstroke in it. Huh? I think that's supposed to be I think that's probably supposed to be DLC. Yeah. Can you play a Deathstroke DLC as you can be Deathstroke in it? Yeah, I believe you get the Deathstroke. Is it if you pre-order it? I believe you get the Deathstroke DLC. But yeah, obviously I'll definitely be playing Arkham Origins, and I'll definitely try and get the DLC for Deathstroke, because Deathstroke, let's face it, is DC's Deadpool. Or actually, should I say, Deadpool is Marvel's Deathstroke? I should actually say to get it right. Nervdar2794 said, Cap, is one of your powers the ability to make cliffhangers angrily suspenseful? I literally get upset when Mass Effect leaves me wondering what's going to happen next. Possibly. Who knows? That is something that not only do I do on purpose, but actually I just get very, very lucky with as well. Because I try to make most of my videos about 20 minutes long, and depending on how the story and flow of each episode is going, I'll either make it shorter or longer to make each video sort of the story get to a point where I can leave it. I watch a lot of walkthroughs where halfway through their sentence they just end the video, and I think that's really just lazy if you ask me. So I like to make it so it seems like it's an end of an episode as opposed to just cutting it because that's my 20-minute limit, you know. So that's why you see some videos that are only 15 minutes and you see others that are 30, because I like it to round up at a certain point, and that's normally where the cliffhangers come up. Luckily, especially in Mass Effect, it's really quite lucky. Each individual sort of like mission or something like that tends to either be half-hour long, 40 minutes long, or about an hour long, which is perfect. So it means I can do one half-hour video, two 20-minute videos, or three 20-minute videos, which means it fits perfectly. So I get to do exactly how I like, and that's what I mean when I say it fits perfectly, because the story, literally at that 20-minute mark, hits a lull just where I can actually end the video. It's almost like they made it for walkthroughs. It's crazy, but yeah, I do intentionally make cliffhangers. I don't like to like if the game is literally about to end or you're just about to find out who someone is, I don't cut it off then, because I feel that breaks the sort of the story and the flow of it. But I do sort of like to leave you at a point where you want to watch the next video, because it helps to make you, if you're looking forward to the next video, then it means you're going to watch the next video. If you're at a point of it, if I cut it and you think, man, that ended on a really boring note, you may not watch the next one. So I do the cliffhangers on purpose, but at the same time they fall into my lap, to be honest with you. I think to myself, right, 20 minutes, I better cut the video, and it's nicely a cliffhanger, and I'm like, oh, perfect. It just worked out for me perfectly. So yeah, I do kind of do it on purpose, but at the same time, it kind of just falls into my lap. Jalen Adams, Cap, you are cool. Thank you. Wasn't a question, but I just wanted to read that one out. J.A. Samps21 said, I looked into Steve Blum and saw something I thought was interesting. Basically, it's a list of all the games that Steve Blum has done the voicing. So let's quickly go through it. You got X-Men Origins. Steve Blum was Wolverine. He also did Wade Wilson and Senator Robert Kelly. He also did the Shadow Broker in Mass Effect 2. He was Kurt Connors in The Amazing Spider-Man and Killer Croc in the Arkham series. Yep, that is quite an impressive list. But here's hoping next Captain's Quarters will be over an hour. Where are we at now? We're at just over 35 minutes. So hey, you never know, we might hit an hour this time. Rightio. Hey Cap, thanks for answering my question. How would you think a character would be if he has Wolverine's claws and healing factor, Juggernaut's super strength, Jean Grey's mind controlling power, Quicksilver's speed, and Hank Pym's power? I don't know if I got this question from you talking about your emergent superheroes' powers. Yeah, well, anything you can come up with would be better than the Scarlet Blob. But oh well, you'd be unstoppable, to be honest with you. It'd kind of like be who am I thinking of? Was it the Sentry? One of those superheroes that just went like Omega and nobody could stop them because they had everything. Who was it I'm thinking of? There was some superhero at one point who literally had everybody's powers. It wasn't like someone like Rogue or anyone like that. Someone at some point literally had everything. They had the strength, the speed, the mind control. Who is it I'm thinking of? Oh, if you guys can help me out with that one, that'd be cool. But yeah, basically, if someone had like Wolverines and all that sort of stuff, they'd just be unstoppable. And I'm kind of glad they don't have a character like that. Actually, no, they do have a character like that, minus the mind control power, and I suppose Hank Pym's shrinking and power and all that sort of stuff. You do. It's called Sir Superman. But no, I think if you had a character like that, it would just be ridiculous. I don't like characters like that when they make them so powerful. They're literally, I don't like it because they're invincible, and then when in the story they get beaten, that's unrealistic. I say it's stupid saying unrealistic when they got superpowers, but I feel when they get beaten in the comics, it's unrealistic because if they had all those powers, that they wouldn't get defeated, and it also makes the original heroes seem pathetic and useless. So I'm glad they haven't got a character with all those abilities, at least not to my knowledge. Eastwood11 said, hey Dave, just saying you got me into Mass Effect 1, 2 and 3. Well, I'm glad to hear that, because I love that game, and if I'm getting other people into it, then all the better, anything I can do to help. Richard Russell, Captain, the problem with playing the new Assassin's Creed game is that it is rubbish. The ones before were so much better. Couldn't really say, I haven't really played. I think I played the second Assassin's Creed for like a little bit, only because there wasn't really anything else to do. But I don't know, driving around a little boat in Assassin's Creed 4 weren't too bad. Also, in case you didn't see this in an earlier video, what do you think of the 90s animated Spider-Man series? I loved it. It was fantastic. I even had the animated series thingy as a ringtone. In fact, actually, I liked and favorited it a long time ago, but a lot of you guys might not have seen that then. So in the description of this video, I'll put a link to a video that someone made like a long time ago, well not a long time ago, about a year or so ago, where it is the animated Spider-Man's TV like theme put over clips of the Amazing Spider-Man film as almost like an intro. It is fantastic. It was so well done. I watched that thing for days. It was so good. So yeah, in the link in the description to this video, I'll put a link to that other guy's video. Go over there and praise it, because I think the thing is absolutely fantastic. I think it was one of you guys who actually originally showed it to me. But yeah, so yeah, I loved it. I watched every single episode. I thought it was fantastic. I just thought it was a fantastic cartoon, not because of penmanship or animation, but because of the story and just the voice acting. Plus, Christopher Daniel Barnes doing the voice of 90s animated Spider-Man, so it was just fantastic. A lot better than the dribble that's put on TV these days. Other than Spectacular Spider-Man, that was alright. Kenny Vesey said, hey Dave, can you do the DLC for Arkham City in the background with Nightwing and stuff? Well, as you know, I've already got the DLC. And I'd love to put it in the background for this, but as I said at the start of the video, I can't record anything at the moment because I need to get a cable for my new Xbox so I can set up the recording. Saturnaria. Oh, did I say that right? Saturnaria said, hey, is your real name Dave or is it just a thing for YouTube? No, my real name's Dave, or David, I suppose, if you want to get proper on me. And she also asked, or he or she, sorry, I don't know if that's male or female, sorry. They also asked, hey, sorry, but do I still do Geek Space? And Tommy from Geek Space actually answered that question for me. They said, Dave's official position with us is simply the official Dave of Geek Space, but to be honest, that title tends to change pretty much whenever we think of a better title. True. But I'm sure we'll see the Captain on our channel again. We may even have something planned for the near future. But yeah, I'm kind of yeah, that's basically it. I'm the official Dave of Geek Space. Everyone else has a role, I just kind of be Dave, and that's about it really. If there's something going down, I'll come along and play along, but that's pretty much it really. I help out whenever I can. Whenever they need me, I'm there to play along. I'm always down for a game, so. Mr. McGoldyface said, FYI, Dave never told me about Transformers. Maybe I didn't, you just weren't listening, eh? Yeah, well, I apologise, Mason. I can only apologise. Yeah, for all those wondering, Mr. Goldyface was that friend of mine that I said liked Transformers. So, there you go. If you've got any questions or comments or anything you want to talk about Transformers, go ask Mr. Goldyface. He would love to hear your thoughts about Transformers. So, go ahead and ask him loads of questions. Giovanni asked, thanks for answering my question. I have another question for you. Have you ever thought about doing a retrospective or review for games? If so, what would you review first? Probably Mass Effect, because as everyone knows, I'm a massive self-diagnosed fanboy of Mass Effect. So I'd probably do that first, because it's the thing I have the most extensive knowledge about. And then it would probably be something like Spider-Man or Ultimate Alliance or something like that after that. But if you do want to read up on a retrospective or a review, as we were just talking about it, go over to Geekspace. They on their website, they have also a website along with their channel. They have a whole section of stuff about reviews for games, films, comics, and a thing that's actually called retrospective, where they talk about old games and stuff like that. So go over their channel, there'll be a link to their website, and you can read reviews from Geekspace instead. So there you go, another shameless plug for you, Tommy. Jedi Coon, hey Dave, can you give any advice on how to start up a gaming channel like you did? Not really sure, to be honest. The only real reason I have gained success like I have is pure luck. For the first year and a half of my channel, I only had about 100 to 170 subscribers. The number 170 stands out in my head for some reason. But no, I had hardly any subscribers for a good long time. But in a way, I was kind of... I say that. In a way, I'm kind of glad that I did only have a few subscribers, because it gave me a chance to sort of get everything right, get my recording equipment right, get my editing better. I became more confident talking over the microphone and stuff like that, so I was producing better content and stuff like that. So I was kind of glad it took a long time to build up any traction. And I mean, now I'm doing a lot better than I ever thought I would, but it's still going up, and I like to think everything I'm doing is still getting better. I'm still learning things. I'm still doing stuff now where I'm thinking, I look back at old walkthroughs and I still think, man, I could have done that a lot better. But it's the only advice I can give, really, and this is going to sound corny. It's going to sound like the same sort of thing that every single guy out there always says, but just do the sort of stuff that you want to do. And unless every single person on the planet is telling you it sucks, which means it probably would suck, just keep doing what you're doing. Because if you're doing something that you don't want to do and you're thinking it will just get you views, then it won't get you views. Because people can just tell. When you're watching someone and they don't want to play the game, you can tell. You can hear it in their voice. They sound bored, they sound angry, and then they start talking about the game and clearly don't know what they're talking about. And then people hate them more, because they clearly have no idea what they're talking about because they don't like the game. So the best advice I can give you is to do what you want to do. So if you want to do a gaming channel, as you said, then record games that you want to play. If you do or don't want to do commentary, that's your choice. Don't change because people are asking you to do that, because eventually you'll find you're doing something that you don't even like doing anymore. So the best advice I can say is just do a gaming channel in the way that you want to do it. If you find the way you're doing it isn't working, or you don't like it, then go ahead and change it up. But do it because you want to do it. Don't do it because you're not getting views, or you feel that this game will get you more views or something like that. It doesn't work that way. If one game is getting some guy 100,000 views, then it's not going to get you any views, because why would they watch you when they can go watch that guy, if you see what I mean. So, I mean, that'd be my advice. If you want to set up a gaming channel, do it the way you want to do it. If you don't get any views, then just keep going, because if you're doing something you want to do, then you should be enjoying it anyway. So views and that'll come hopefully later on in life. But even if you never get any, you're still doing something you enjoy. But if you try and change what you want to do to try and match what everybody else likes in a year, 2 years time, and you're still not getting views, you'll be hating yourself because you're playing stuff you don't even like. So yep, that's the best advice I can really give, is just play what you want to play and set up a channel the way you want to set it up, because otherwise you'll be miserable. So that's the best thing I can say, just do what you like. Alexander said, hey Dave, have you ever thought about doing a let's play for Star Wars The Force Unleashed? As well, how do you like my new profile picture? Yeah, I like your new profile picture, I think it's quite cool actually. Good old noir Spider-Man. Star Wars The Force Unleashed. No, I haven't thought about doing that. Although, I've had a lot of people talking to me about Star Wars recently. And the more they do, the more I'm interested in it, to be honest. Although, if I am going to play a Star Wars game, the one I might play first is the Lego version. I used to play that with my friend when we were like younger. And that game was just so much fun. I don't know, maybe there might be a co-op Lego game down in the future that I might play as a walkthrough. Who knows? Who knows? Thoughts for the future. But no, a lot of people have talked to me about Star Wars game, not just that, but Knights of the Old Republic and stuff like that as well. And I don't know, since how I've got into the sci-fi route with Mass Effect, it's becoming more and more intriguing as the day goes past. But there's that, maybe. Alexander also said, are you a fan of Doctor Who? Being in England and stuff, I assume you've heard of it. If so, and if you're a fan, who's your favourite Doctor of all time? Mine is David Tennant. No, I'm not a Doctor Who fan, unfortunately. A lot of people in England are. I think it's actually bigger in America than it is in England. I know a lot of people in England like it, but from what I've seen, a lot more Americans, or at least a lot more Americans, are vocal about liking Doctor Who. But yes, I've heard of Doctor Who, but I'm just not a fan of it. I've seen bits of it. It's not a bad show, but it's just, I don't know, I just don't like it, to be honest. I watched a bit and I was just kind of bored. But yeah, it's alright. As I said, I've never watched any of the Doctor Who's really properly, and I think David Tennant might be the guy I'm thinking of. But I might be thinking of the guy who I think is quite good. But the guy I did not like, and as I say, I haven't seen his acting, so he might have been very good. But it's the guy with the massive jaw. I think he's the most recent one. Yeah, I think he was the guy who was most recent. I've never seen his acting, so he might be very good, but I just don't like his face. The most recent Doctor Who, I just I just don't like him. Something about his face. Every time I saw the advert, I said, well, they give him a slap. But that's my opinion. Don't go telling him or anything. But Blast Eye Studio, who do you think would win between Spider-Man and Batman? I think I answered that last week, but I'm saying Spider-Man, just because I'm a fan of Spider-Man. I think he'd kick Batman's ass. And if you don't think so, then oh well. I think Spider-Man would win, and that's who I'd put my money on. Urs said, thanks for answering my question last week, Dave, and yet here is another one. Which games did you play as a kid? Which would you really like to play again, aside from Ultimate Spider-Man and Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1? I loved Crash Bandicoot as a kid. That and Crash Team Racing. I mean, Crash Bandicoot Warped, I think I remember once as a kid sitting down putting Limp Bizkit's album on. I just sit there and just stormed through that game one afternoon. It's one of my great memories I have from a child. A standard Sunday afternoon in England. It's grey outside. It's pouring down with rain. You've got homework you need to do for the next day, but you're not going to do it because you have Crash Bandicoot Warped. You have got some platinum time challenges that need to get completed. Limp Bizkit's on. It's it's time to get this done. But yeah, Crash Bandicoot, that Crash Team Racing. I loved all of those games. They were fantastic. There's a lot of games I used to play as a kid that are really just random games because I never knew really what was popular. None of my friends liked games, nowhere near as much as I did anyway. So I never really knew what popular games were out. So I'd be out when I was younger and I'd just pick up a game which I thought looked good. And it was some really, really random games. Like one, it was called Rogue something. It was a racing game. And you like one car was like an ambulance, and one was like a hot dog, and one was like an Elvis car. And I remember this one thing. It was like almost like Crash Team Racing, like in the battle arena. And I remember one being like an airport, and you'd get power-ups and stuff like that. It was just such an awesome game. I can't remember what it was, but there was a game called Blast Chamber on the PS1. Me and my brothers and sisters, man, that game was insane. You were like 4 different coloured men in obviously a square room, and you had this crystal you had to get, and you had to try and put it in your coloured area. But the thing was, each of the coloured areas were on each of the 4 walls, like going on where the roof was and on each side wall. And by walking up to the wall, you'd turn the whole room on its side. So you would just be about to get the crystal, and then someone would turn the room, and you'd fall on some spikes. And the game was insane. It was so much fun. But yeah, talking about games you probably actually know. Yeah, Crash Team Racing, absolutely loved that. Abe's Odyssey, great game. There's a game called Blazing Dragons that was like a point-and-click game. That game was just so much fun. All the Smackdowns, I used to play all of them. It was the reason I got a PS2, was so I could play Just Bring It. GTA, I used to play a lot of them. I don't know, there's a lot of games like that. Crash Bandicoot I'd love to play again. If I could find I'd have to go around my parents' house, but if I could find my PS1 and Blast Chamber, that would be insane. But yeah, Crash Bandicoot, that's always been a fan favourite of mine as a kid. I'm forgetting a game. I'm forgetting a big game that I used to play a lot. Oh well. But yeah, Crash Bandicoot, I spent hours on that. Oh, the James Bond games. I used to play. I'm forgetting them. GoldenEye, Agent Under Fire. What's the Nightfire? Oh, I spent hours on those. They were so much fun, those games. Need for Speed, weren't really a huge fan of that, but played it a bit. Tekken, stuff like that. But anyway, I spent too much time on that question, I feel. Reminiscing. And yes, whoever asked earlier, looks like this one might go over an hour. Today Nakatari. Did I say it right that time? You put the pronunciation there. Did I say it right? Today Nakatari. Said, hey Dave, who would you think would win in a fight between Hulk or Juggernaut? Well, apparently, according to Alcaracia, because you put the pronunciation there as well. According to Alcaracia, they've already fought before and Hulk won. So I'm gonna have to go Hulk, but I would want Juggernaut to win. But then I suppose you got to go Hulk. He's just raw power, isn't he? He hasn't got that from a crystal or anything like that. That's all Hulk. But Alcaracia also asked, Dave, what I want to know is why you don't seem to like Skyrim. I agreed with you for a while. I thought it was dumb, so I wanted to know what the hype was all about. And I bought it and I fell in love with it. It's one of the most detailed games ever made. Why don't you like it? By the way, I'd really love you to do a walkthrough of it. I never said I disliked the game. I liked Skyrim. I didn't not complete it because I didn't want to complete it. I got distracted with other games. I think a new game came out like quite soon after Skyrim, and it took my attention away. But no, I never stopped playing Skyrim because I didn't like the game. I do like the game. It's just, I don't know, I just never got around to finishing it. It's one of those, I wasn't aware how big the game was, so I tried to do all side missions like you see in Mass Effect. I tried to do all side missions, and I think I played for like 10, 15, 20 hours, and I only just got to meet the Greybeards, so Every time I played, I'd just go find a river, squat in it, and just look at the scenery. Because I'd spend ages just looking at mountains and stuff, just because I thought the game was so beautiful. But but yeah, no, I never stopped playing it because I dislike it. I do like the game. I think it's a beautiful game, and I think it's a really good game. I just never got to complete it. That's all. But I'm not sure if I do a walkthrough of it because I'm not a huge fan of that particular era of games. You know, the whole medieval Dungeons, Dragons, Orcs, Elves, that sort of stuff. I'm not a huge fan of that sort of stuff. I like the game, but I just can't really feel for the characters or the story that much. You know, they're talking at me and I'm like, alright, come on, just give me the quest already. Whereas opposed to Mass Effect, they're talking to me and I just want to hear everything they have to say, so. But no, I don't dislike Skyrim. I think it's a beautiful game, but I just never completed it. That was all. And speaking of that was all, that is it for the Captain's Quarters episode 4. I think we might actually, yeah, we are nearly bang on the exact same amount of time as last week's episode. Look at that, we're finally starting to hit an ending point on these sorts of things. But anyway, that was the Captain's Quarters episode 4. If you've got any questions or comments you'd like me to read out or at least answer in next week's episode, feel free to leave them in the comment section of this video. And if Future Dave is anything competent at all, also in the description below there should be a link to that video that I said was really good, with the 90s Spider-Man's theme music over the Amazing Spider-Man film. Definitely check it out. I thought it was fantastic, especially if you're a Spider-Man fan. But anyway, this has been the Captain's Quarters. My name's been Captain Dave, and I will catch you guys later.